Welcome back, everybody. Our first guest tonight is the governor of Michigan, whose young adult edition of her best-selling memoir, True Gretch, Lessons for Anyone Who Wants to Make a Difference, is out now. Please welcome back to the show, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, everybody.
Thank you.
I feel like these are days where you need to accentuate the positives, and I will say the last time we spoke was over Zoom because it was the middle of a pandemic, so it is nice to be with you in person.
Well, when I had the invitation, I thought I would seize the moment.
Oh, there you go. You're using seize in a positive way. Thank you.
I'm trying.
You're
I'm
disproving
listening.
my thesis, yeah. I'm so happy to have you here. I do want to start the Detroit Lions. I feel like the Detroit Lions were... No, I want to say, I think they were everybody's second favorite team. I think people love everything that's going on with that organization, and when their team was knocked out, so I just want to give my sympathies.
It was a bummer, man, but we have come a long way, and we are going to win the Super Bowl next year.
All right, there you go. Sign up. I would very much, I feel like if it's not my Steelers, I would like to see Buffalo, I would like to see Detroit. I feel like, everybody deserves their day, and you certainly, the Lions haven't had many days.
I don't love dynasties unless... it's ours.
Yeah, there you go. So I want to ask about, we're very early on in the Trump administration. So Donald Trump has won Michigan twice. He's very proud of the fact he's won Michigan twice. It seems like you and he might have a common goal, which is to make life better for Michiganders. Do you feel like you see that from him?
Well, I'll just say this. You're right. I won Michigan twice. He won Michigan twice within 2 years of one another.
Right.
He says he cares about American manufacturing, which is why I'm hopeful as the talk about tariffs seems to be, a little bit quieter at the moment, that they're really rethinking treating Canada and Mexico the way that we treat China. If we say no to Canada, it's saying yes to China, because we know that so much commerce goes through Detroit. Detroit has the biggest international crossing in the country. People forget that. We think about the southern border, but the northern border is where so much of our manufacturing goes back and forth. So if he loves Michigan the way he says he loves Michigan, he's not going to pursue things that are going to make it harder to afford a car or afford blueberries or make sure that you got a good paying job or that agriculture doesn't suffer. So, yeah, I'm hopeful he still loves Michigan.
I feel like there's two different roles for the Democratic Party right now. I think, it is incumbent upon, Democratic members of the Senate and the House to get in the way of, his agenda. But I do feel like, as a Democratic governor, you have even said you're not looking to pick fights with him. You do want to work together with this administration, and I feel like that speaks to how much you care about the people in your state.
Well, I got a job to do. When I took my oath of office, just like my colleagues, it was to serve our people. And, as capable as I am to throw a counterpunch, I don't, because my oath is to the people of Michigan, and that means working with whomever's in the White House. It also means living my values, and I don't look for a fight, but I don't back down from one either. I'm going to fight for the people of Michigan and the people of this country.
Can you, for people like me, where, obviously you're the home, one of the homes in this country of the auto industry. Where is the auto industry right now on electric vehicles? Are they excited about the idea? Because obviously we're in a place where the president does not speak very highly of electric vehicles. Where do, the big auto companies stand right now in this?
Well, listen, they're transitioning. The whole world is. And we've got to produce ICE vehicles. We've got to produce EVs and hybrids. I don't care what you drive so long as it's an American-made car. What we're seeing happen in Europe could very well be our future if we're not really smart about tariffs and getting it right, leveling the playing field with China. The Chinese government underwrites all the Chinese EVs that are flooded in Europe right now. They can sell at a loss, and it's devastating to all the European auto jobs. We cannot let that happen here, and that's why my appeal at the Detroit Auto Show to President Trump is, let's be very smart about how we deploy tariffs. Let's make sure that we build up American manufacturing. He says that's what he wants to do. There's a smart way to go about this, and I'm glad they've slowed down a little bit when it comes to tariffs.
Well, the good news is if he said it, man of his word. So, So True Gretch, this is the young adult version of True Gretch.
Yeah.
Took out all the steamy stuff.
No.
But what do you want young people to take away from this book?
Well, I wrote the book last year. It came out, and I heard from so many people that they bought copies for their kids or their grandkids. And that was just the nicest compliment. And as I thought about it and talked to my own kids, we decided to beef up some of the stuff from their lives. And there's a Q&A at the end of the book, which is a lot of fun with my girls and my sister. There are resources at the back of the book for young people who maybe need some support with mental health or, different abuse situations or, how to get activated. But these are lessons I've learned at various points in my life that I've used to get through these last 6 years as governor. A plot to kidnap and kill me, being bullied by someone with the biggest microphone on the planet, making sure that, I can try to reach across the aisle and work with people. These are lessons every one of us can use, and that's why we thought it'd be great to put one out for young people.
You do mention that you have a Q&A with your daughters. It is, they're very honest about the fact that you, on purpose, would embarrass them at school drop-off?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It's one of the privileges of being a parent.
Yeah.
When your kids are old enough to embarrass them, it's just so much joy.
What would you yell? What would you yell out the window as you drop them off?
I would drop Sherry and Sydney off, and we're talking middle school or even high school, and I'd yell out the window, "No fighting and no biting."
Yeah.
And they would scurry off into school and pretend they didn't know me.
You also, you would remove, you have a tooth that comes out.
I did, right?
Yeah.
It's glued in, so
Okay.
I can't show you that.
But back in the day before you had glue money, you could take it out?
Yes, yeah.
And wait, how would you take it out to embarrass your children? Because I would love to have a tooth I could take out.
Oh, it was so fun. I would pretend like I was going to walk into school without my tooth in. I knocked him out at church camp of all places. I talked a little bit about that.
Classic church camp.
My nickname Gravity Gretchen, because I fall down. I'm a klutzy person.
Okay.
So. But yeah, so I loved
This is the most Midwestern story about how you lose a tooth. Gravity Gretchen fell down at church camp.
Yes.
I'm from New England. Nobody lost a tooth from church camp. If somebody's missing a tooth in New England, you know something way worse than church camp happened. I thought this was the most wonderful text exchange, because one, I think it sort of speaks to, like, sometimes we get worried about using the right or wrong vocabulary to describe people. And, I think it's very loving the way you talk to your daughter, who's a member of the LGBTQ community. And this is a text exchange that you put in the book, which is just so lovely. This is what you said to her. I'm just going to read off this exchange here. But if and when I refer to you, do I say as the mom of a gay woman or a community member, or is there something else you prefer? And she wrote, gay woman is good, community member is hilarious. Then you wrote, LOL, thanks for the counsel, gay woman. And then she wrote, anything for you, non-community member. I mean, this is really... the best thing you can tell about this exchange, that's very much a mother-daughter exchange. You can tell you have the same tone, the same sense of humor.
Yes, and then the little heart emojis, of course.
You definitely. You said you prefer ally and the heart emoji.
And then she says, you're ridiculous.
Well, that's how it goes. Hey, congratulations so much on the book. I'm so glad there's a young adult edition. It's really wonderful to see you. Good luck taking care of the people in Michigan.
Thank you. Thanking us. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer, everybody. True Gretch is out now. We'll be right back with more Late Night.